And they will give us a rundown on the cemetery, people that are buried there and the history of it. So in honour of the day, and we need an Irish speaker, which isn't myself unfortunately. The route we'll be taking will be down to Lisarda, turning left at Coolea, the bypass all the way to Ballyvourney. At the end there's a light, turn right, right again, and you'll be turning left at the mills. I'll be at the mills myself just to make sure you all turn on the right, at the right turn, and George will be in front, Neil is behind, so there's no fear of anyone getting lost. Now to our Irish speaker Brendan, and he'll say a few words. So everybody have a good and a safe day and enjoyable.
Our son, Museum Kilmurry an seo, an Museum Arling an seo, tá has orm agus tá an orm bhean seo nucht live, agus tá fáilte ród gibn coch a hánig ó cían agus ó congur an seo nómh agus le de glúisteánaí deasa le gacha ina chun fécintear. Tá siúla gom go méid lá go minic sibh tanmhas an lá an seo agus beag an lá go háling is ólam le chun dé. Beag míad a raig sios an seo an bmhór seo le mar a deir Micheál agus a reisgurí Ballyvourney an sin. Agus go mé an táirh go léir. Stiúr go Cormac, stiúr go Maul, fan leis na glúisteánaí eile, mar bhí sibh ag taistil ar an bmhór. Agus a raig libh tá mí réigean is chun dul an bmhór agus míle buchas le gacha ina bhean seo nucht agus Big lá deas gacha ina ar an torra seo. Bhí an túl an seo ar son an múséim seo gur a míle agah Coolea.
Together and then in Cork. So you're in Cork, were you? Yes. So poor old Johnny Buckley was your boss before. Yes. And Sheena. So especially in 1872 on Lynch land, like the Lynches had this farm here, and we commemorated the century last year. And a lot of things have happened here, I suppose. We've done a lot of broadcasting from this church. on radio particularly. In fact, next Sunday again I'll be live on radio again. And we've done it all during COVID. When COVID came that famous Sunday, and everything was locked, we locked the doors too, rang the super in the crew, and the bishop had said, the doors will be locked, but we're going to sing Mass anyway, and we're going to put it online. So we were probably one of the first to put it online that very first Sunday. We gave a list of names. We called 5 members of the choir to be there every Sunday, because the magic figure was 5. We didn't count the priest. And of course, at that time, we broadcast every festival and every Mass, and had people from all over the world were watching it and depending on it because they were locked up crew. And of course, the whole priest got very sick and died more or less in the altar. Like he really suffered, but he was determined to keep going. So there's a choir member here now, I'm not joking. So, but the more interesting thing is that this was the church that was named after St. Gobnait at the time. The other end of the parish below, the important end of the parish, came to their churches, the St. Gobnait's church, but this was the one that was originally called Temple Gobnait. A very simple, straightforward building. There was a bell tower there, but it was renovated in the 60s, so we lost the bell tower, and the bell mysteriously ended up in a shed in the parish priest's house in downtown, Ballyvourney, and we only got it back again about 20 years ago. 20 years ago now. And one of the things that was very interesting that was here was a font that was donated by Coolea. And the reason for that, they were Protestants, they were big landlords around here, they're in Garnett Castle also, and they had the mills in the castle down there. And Thomas Charles, he had built the mills and that place below. He's responsible for all those lime trees on the road, like Rashni's gone, and all those. He planted all those, and he bought what they call a buttload or a horse cart load of earth from Blarney to put on each tree he was planted, because the earth around here is acid. He sold that to his brother for 4,000 guineas. And he came up here and bought all this valley here and started a model farm. And in that time, back again, that comes on again, the Crimean War started to broke out. And he went after the Crimean War. And he was leaving here, an old woman here gave him a miraculous medal from Coolea. And when he was shot over there, deflected a bullet. So he converted when he came back and he donated the font and the bell. The font isn't downtown in the important part of the parish, so we have to make a single font which to make. So that's the church. The choir was started here. There was some women's on special occasions before, but in 1963 my father landed here with the rest of us and he started the choir. And that time there was a thing going on in Rome, the Pope, John the 23rd, I think it was, big heavy Italian, he started the Vatican Council, second one in 2,000 years. And they said, they changed the rules, and they said, well, everyone can have Mass in their own language, not in Latin. So that's how Mass came in English and in Irish and all those things. And my father had friends in Maynooth at that time. Tom Field was professor of history, he later became Cardinal, if you remember Tom's Field. Padre Goulding, who was put in charge of translating the Bible and all the stuff into Irish, and a few more. And they had a mutual friend who was the curate here, Father O'Connor, because Father O'Connor, Dinishin used to call him, Gobnait. He and my father founded the choir in 63, and these texts would come to us in the news translations after the presses. I remember they came in big long sheets of yellow paper like that. And they'd be pouring over them with the head of the bottle, whiskey in a box of majors every Sunday. And my father started putting music to the Mass. And as he would put it to the Mass, we would start singing it here. So I'd say probably one of the first Masses ever in vernacular in the world was here. It was a card from 1967 with the same Master Fee, or Cardinal Fee as he later was, singing the priest part. And then we went on to do, my father started ecumenical services. In other words, he had a friend, Chris Warren, who was Church of Ireland minister under Bishop, what was his name? The Protestant Bishop in Kerry at the time.
Her Joseph Cork, yeah.
No, but in Kerry.
Oh, I don't know.
He moved on to Limerick after, I think his name was it. But, so we started doing ecumenical services. Now they weren't permitted yet at that stage. So we'd sing in the Protestant church and mix the two together to have a service. So it started a tradition for the choir here to do that kind of thing. And we have been doing a lot of that kind of stuff in the last 52 years since I was born. My father died in 1971, and 2 weeks before he died, he told me to pick my ass back here and start the harmonium and what to do, and so I started. So now, 3 or 4 minutes left before 2 o'clock, and the lads will sing, whichever turn up. I'll say about St. Gobnait. You're going to visit there now, I think. When you go out of the church, just outside the front door, inside the porch, there's a big timber statue made by a Gobnait or a guy from Dernan who spent his life in missions. And one of the things he did, he said, when he died, he wanted to go right into the churchyard, so he is buried outside there. And he put a statue of St. Gobnait in all the Munster Beltons because she's remembered in the Iron Islands, in Dunqueen, in Ryan, Waterford, and obviously in Ballyvourney here. And the story of Gobnait was that she was the daughter of an Irish chieftain in Mayo. And he got in trouble up in Mayo, so he had to flee the country there to the Iron Islands in Isir. And that's where she was reared, in Isir. And they're still on her day there. And then she had a vision there. A lot of the stories around Gobnait are parallel to the ones with Bridget, which you'll ever go to school, you know, about the apron with the bread and the meat for the, and the father finding her, and she when she opened the apron, they'd all turn to flowers in that story. Those kind of things. Anyway, Gobnait was told in a vision to keep travelling until she'd find 9 white deer, and where that happened, set up a monastery. So she travelled desolate some miles around Munster, and she ended up first down on the coast in Waterford, where the Gaelic was there. She stayed a little while there with no deer, and she took to the seas then, and because the sea was the main road that time, no antique cars or any kind that time, not classic cars either, only boats, no roads. So she went along the sea and she came in at Dunqueen and Dunqueen at the end of the Dingle Peninsula, and they always said up to 20 years ago that she was a pirate, because they didn't know the other side of the story. So she stayed there a little while, and they set up a church to her there too, and then she came along up that peninsula towards Killarney and Killarney, and she stopped the other side of Killarney, there's a well to her there, and then when she came to her in Ishfallen or Killarney, now she moved north, because there was no roads around these mountains, and she came on this parish, on this place, from the Mallow side, over Lochnish. And when she was coming down into the valley, towards the evening, they perched or camped that night where the Abbey Hotel is now. And they looked across and she saw me and she saw 3 deer just all getting close. So she said, we pitch tent here and we cross the ford here and we'll surely do it in the morning. So in the morning, when they opened their tents and came out, they saw the 9 white deer above in the place where the new graveyard is now, that field. When you go up there, you'll see that. And they've done a bit of clearing there recently. So she crossed the river with her crowd of followers, and they followed the stream up, which is called Clashnagibah. And lo and behold, towards the top of the stream, they met a well and a whole pile of Druids walking around it, desolate again. And she joined. And when they finished the round, she said, that's very good advice, but do it in the name of Christ now. They were pagan Druids, right? So she got land then over where it is, and she went to a monastery. When you go up, you will see where the Protestant church is. That was built in the late 1830s, early 1840s, and they built that on the site where her monastery was. And you see as you go up in close the grave yard, on the left-hand side is the statue that Seamus Murphy made to her, and you see what we call her house. And in 1952, there was just a mound up to then, but in 1952, Professor Michael Goulding, who was the Professor of Archaeology in UCC, came out and did an archaeological dig there to see what the hell it was. Because the council were putting the road right through the graveyard. The one that you're driving now, that's a new road. And lo and behold, we found it was a Bronze Age smith, or smithy. Found all the post holes and all the places for smelting and everything. And then her grave then is the mound inside the gate, and then the church is where she had the original count of the one that's there now is a medieval building. So the place was going flying, very famous, and the Danes came 700 something or other, and they ransacked the place, and it fell into disuse for a while, and then in the 11th century, 12th century, they rebuilt it. And that's what you see now, when you go up the road that you see now. And one of the things that's interesting about it is when you look at the gable end inside, there's the head of what we call the Ballyvourney, the Black Thief. And on the wall outside, used as part of the rooms, the shilling dig over the window. It's the only shilling dig in use still. And the shilling dig is a fertility symbol. So people would rub cloth to that, and particularly if you're having trouble getting the family away and all that kind of stuff, just for that purpose. Then there is a buller there in what we call the Kishton, which is outside the church, the roadside of the church. There's a square that steps up into it, and there's a hole in the wall, you put your hand in there. There's a gate ball, it's made of stone, not iron, but it's like a cannonball, it's very cold, and that's her bull. And she used to use that to knock buildings by farmers coming into places and things like that. And it used to be kept by the Hurling family, and you borrow it to rub to the cattle every year if the cattle were sick. And about 120 years ago, it went missing for a long time, for about 40 years, 35 or 40 years. Somebody didn't bring it back. And then about 120 years ago, they came back one night with it and they put it in the wall, and the wall went down on top of it, so you can't take it out anymore. But we rub it when the packs were out. So the only last thing I'd say about Gobnait is that her patron saint's day is the 11th of February, which in the old calendar is St. Bridget's Day. So there's no doubt that we're into Friday. And the word Gobnait comes from the old Irish word called nu, which is the Irish for smith. And the Tuatha who ran the country until the Celts arrived under their rule and the taking of Ireland, they baked the lark out of the Tuatha and committed genocide. And the last battle they had was in Mayo, in Monterey, where they beat the Tuatha. And 2 weeks before that battle, one of the three brothers, famous brothers of the Tuatha, the brother called Gobnait, in charge of metallurgy, making pots and pans and weapons and everything like that, he died of the plague. So they always used to claim that if he had survived, the Celts wouldn't win, Tuatha would have today. But he died. And what happened then was that the Celts tried to annihilate him. The last great massacre, according to the books, the annals of the Rishalin and the Guala, these famous manuscripts that are from the monasteries, they say the last great massacre of the Tuatha happened in this valley, Coolea, from here to the top of the mountain. So there is a remnant of the Tuatha here. We look out the window and you see the tops of that. And the seventh, the nine white deer, they are related to that culture. And when you do the rounds, it takes about an hour to do the rounds, and if you have a really bad thing that you want, you do 21 days. In the last 3 nights you stay up there, and you empty the well before dawn, and if you get your wish, you see the white albino trout at the bottom. I knew a man who went through that and got a sight back. He had to do it on his knees because he was blind. So we have great faith in her around here. If it was a battle between Rome and Gobnait would win hands down. So on that note, that's the true status we got yeah. So some of the lads we'll sing two things free. I suppose we do a Christian Shield, seeing as people know that more often than not. And I bought in 3 CDs of the choir. Think of a question that I can ask to raffle them off. Who has the oldest car here?
Who is the oldest?
Huh? Give him that. Who's the oldest driver here? Pass it on to him. Maybe he hasn't a CD player, but you can get it. Think of somebody else to give this one to. Gary, a question? Right. Are you related to the O'Mahony's in Kilmurry? Do you know the pub in the corner that used to be a pub? Big place there in the corner. Because we've relations over there, and we're related to that lassie there, the Lernahans. Right, so a Christian Shield and Kilmurry. Huh? Alright. Right, so we'll do, the other one we'll do is about St. Gobnait, and for those who have Irish, they'll understand because the whole story of Gobnait is in that hymn, and it's written by Joan Kelly, Siobhan Benny Callig, a daughter of the man who wrote the Pucker Willie. Sorry now, there's church music inside the church, but sure, you can have pub music in the pub. Right. I've just been handed a note by my cousin down there to say not to sing Gobnait because Deirdre Kelly is singing it. Well, at the graveyard. So, as I said to Gobnait to her music, her mother and myself are very friendly and we did a lot of things together. So we sing a different one. There's a prayer that we say here always for St. Gobnait. Etc. And it goes like this to me there. See what it says. We won't keep you any further. We have a bit of driving to do, I believe. Cash, any questions before you leave?
Is that the same organ that you can see online with the Coolea with Kilmurry? Is that the same?
Depending on which performance or which time.
I'm just wondering, I see it online there occasionally. Like
anything that was done inside here would be done with this.
Yes.
And I brought it up to the concert hall once or twice, but I don't like taking it on the road.
Of course.
Because it's old and it makes to damage it. I have another one that I've got things put under it for the road, which we took up for the 1916 commemoration, things like that in the GPO, but I wouldn't take that out. It's too bad. This is written on it, I don't know. I'd say it would be probably over, what have we now, probably American, I'd say, because it's tuned up, the pitch is tuned a quarter tone up, and all brass instruments and reeds from America are tuned a little bit sharper because of the Salvation Army in the 1800s. They had all their brass instruments tuned to the same pitch, and they were slightly sharper than we had in Europe, and that is sharp, so it came from America, obviously, to McCullough Piggott's. It was bought here in 1967, but it wasn't probably new that time, so I couldn't tell you beyond that. Could be, yeah, but they're great instruments.
We share who saw it got done and
Connie, agus go chéan og mi stig shepe. Brief. Like we didn't say go chéan la agus go chéan separate. Agus go chéan after down gus mar sin
Or dead over man.
Yeah. We didn't so new for Coolea. Like people come here, we're always here at 10 o'clock, although next Sunday now will be 11 because it's a live broadcast, but we're here always at 10 o'clock and we'd find people travelling. For example, I met a couple here this morning who had come from Laois, County Laois, 2 older people, and there was 5 over there who, 4 of them from Japan. But they were master craftsmen, like there'd be kind of people of certain interests that would come out here because it's a bit of a journey, like it's not, and it isn't a gig. It is a religious ceremony. Like we don't treat it like a performance. We're to be heard and not seen. The priest is to be seen. When you listen to the right, it's the lads like we slow more on our madness. Passive www.padaroria.ie, and there's information about the men's choir and the women's choir and things like that there. I did a thing for Kilmurry Choir actually a couple of years ago, a poem by Terence McSweeney. And I recorded it with Sean O'Shea during COVID, but for some reason it wasn't broadcast, I don't know why. Anyway, I hope no car leaks on the way back.
No, except the open one.
They brought that on themselves.
Where do you get your CDs?
Huh?
Where could you buy your CDs?
Down in the shop in Ballyvourney, the bookshop, or in the mills. If you ask for them, or on the website, you can buy them on the website.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Michael.
Hold on. I've got a question here about roads.
1 second, lad.
Drivers.
There's nobody gone out there now.
They're asking me about a route up to the graveyard or the main road.
Oh, yeah.
Now, all I'd say is that some of it is, you'd want the brakes pretty good on it going down the other side. Okay? When you go back towards Ballyvourney, there's a road going to Rinery or Gugan that comes back up this way on your right hand side. It's actually beside my house. So you go over about a mile here and you come to a fork in the road and there's a right hand turn. You have to go like that up the hill, and as soon as you come to a cross of 4 roads at the top of the hill there, take the left hand turn and that'll bring you down to the graveyard.
Instead of the man over down.
Yes. And then you'll be facing down. But
Michal, as I said, who spent his life teaching in Coolea and has inherited from his father the love of language and Beiridas and Star na Haite. Tá sé chun órád bheag a chuirt doing faoi Star na Relige orsa seo, faoi neh Gobnait agus na daoine mór le rá tá curtha ann. An tarna cainteoir tá going an sin ná Deirdre Ceallaigh, Gael Mickey ach a granddaughter of Donal Milan, the man who wrote the Pucker Buile. So Deirdre will give a little talk to us about her grandfather and more importantly about her mother, Privide sa Scoil Bar Dínshe, a chum an bhí padar a ráling faoi faoi neh Gobnait néfa. So tá sí chun an sin a chanadóin agus cumála Mickey tá anahim ag Deirdre is saoil agus Star Coolea agus Beiridas na Haite. So tá an táling go bhfuil an dá chaintóirí seo sásta caintling anmh. So míle buchas agus cuirgaí fáilte bhórimh Michal Ó Ceallaigh.
The O'Connor dynasty in Connacht, and she's purported to have a vision that she should travel to spread Christianity, as you would probably would recognise. They had Christianity in Mayo at that time with Patrick, and it was about 100 years after St. Patrick, I suppose, she was born. So she had a vision to travel until she would see 9 white deer legging the view on the Brana, and she should set up a monastery there. So her first stop was in Ishir in the Aran Islands, and she gave some while there, and there's a little church there as well, and all that, St. Gobnait. So she left that, and we presume came by sea down to Dunqueen in Dingle, the tip of the Dingle Peninsula. And she sat up there for a while, and she's still commemorated and revered there by the people. The school is called after her, and the church and all that. So she left there and came towards Killarney. There was no Killarney there that time. To Beaufort. So there's a Kiel Gobnait there. And so she moved on again across Munster up into Limerick to Ballygran. And went from there down to Waterford, just north of Dungarvan, where there's Gobnait. There's a well and all and church and the whole up there as well, Gobnait. So she still hadn't seen the night white deer, so she came west and came to Clondrohead, which would be 4 or 5 miles from here. And there's Gobnait there. So she left there again and came to Ballyvourney, and across the valley there's Kilmurry. There's a stone there, and she's supposed to have seen 5 or 6 white deer there. So then she came across the valley and over here, and she saw the 9. So she set up here and stayed here for the rest of her life. She formed a troop of nuns, or women or ladies or whatever, and began to spread the faith. And also she must have been well travelled. She knew a lot about smelting and all these kind of things, trades. So she gathered a crowd around, and they were able to help the people of the area. There was some type of timber structure where the old church is down there. At that time, that was about 6th, 7th century. And the first part of the stone structure was built around the 9th century. And the main church itself was built on the 12th, 13th century. There was a roof in it, of course, but in the time of Cromwell, his army went around and they started burning the churches, and I presume to have been a thatched roof that was on it. So the local people decided to take the roof off the church so that it couldn't be burned. And they put the timber beams and all that in safekeeping where the present village is now, Ballyvourney. It was called Carrigan, the rock of the timber. And the penal laws went on, of course, for a couple of 100 years. So it was never put back. The newer building there was the Parsonage Church, of course, that was built around the 1800s, as was the Glebe House under the landlords. And there's a structure down there, an old house there, that was called the Porridge House. The minister that was here at the time, he was a Dutchman, I think. Ken Cracker was his name. So he gave out porridge during the famine to the people. There wasn't any commitment attached to it. They didn't have to change their religion or anything else. So this statue was put up 1950. Seamus Murphy, the sculptor from Cork, that sculpted it. And they had the whole place investigated, archaeological surveys and all that of all the area by Michael J. Kelly, who was a professor in UCC. So my father was secretary of that committee that did all that and organised the structure of they renovated the walls of the old church, the border books it was at the time or whatever, and so that's how it goes. So there's the prayer here in front of the statue. Gimani be a better Gobnait Noifa. Gimani Muridret is Danin Feindet. Is Futsa Hana vi Giramish Gilead, a Gerimalais, a Sunday. Now, there are many stories about St. Gobnait. and legends of course as well. And if you see at the base of the statue, it's a straw hive, beehive. You can see the bees there. So St. Gobnait is the patron saint of bees. And she was able to use the bees to her advantage and the people's advantage as claimed. There were some racketeers or rapparees came to Ballyvourney and they collected all the cattle to take away with them, and they had them stored at the inch on the way to Coolea. So she had a stone chair at the top of the hill here, a seat that was carved out of the rock. So she used to sit there at times, meditating, and she observed all this stuff was happening. So she is supposed to have taken down a hive of bees to the boys below and set them out. So they hunted all the rapparees or whatever they were, and the cattle scattered, so they were saved for another day. So there's a round. St. Gobnait's round is well known all over Munster. You have the inside pat and the outside pat. So you walk around and say 7 Hail Marys, 7 Our Fathers and 7 Glories 3 times, and walk around 3 times. And you read the prayer, of course. Then you continue just inside the gate, there's a mound, that's her grave. So you do the same thing there, 7, 7, 7, 3 times around, inside and outside. And then around the old church below, same, 7, 7, 7. Now, that was her house, the stone structure there, thatched of course, and there's a little well there, but that is not the official well. The official well is just halfway down the hill. So, any other question about that? We can proceed at once. I don't want to be holding you too long. So we go down to as far as the mound, which is the grave, and then we can go as far as the old church, and we'll do some more there. Go forward. Here. Now, there's a headstone there just with a circular top on it, a round top. That's a Kilmurry Rebel Run, barn and rear that's next to the mills, just down the road. And before he went moved in his carrot with his mother, his father died young. So that's Kilmurry Rebel Run grave there. So we'll move on a little bit. It's agate, type of stone or whatever. It's not native to the area anyway. So it was like that St. Gobnait had it as a cure for people that were ill or cattle. That you rub it on, and that there was possibly some food in it. And keep those take it away, of course. If you had somebody ill at home, or 6 cattle. So somebody was supposed to have taken it one time anyway, a big farmer from beyond Macroom. We don't know where. But he'd have it for himself. So it was missing for a while anyway, and somebody found out where it was, so it came back again. So it was put in here then for safekeeping, so that people couldn't take it anymore. Now, Deirdre's people and Bree's people, Kelly's from Dunkelly and my own, and sisters. There were a lot of them buried here, just down here. The tall marble headstone there was white one time. That was shipped from America by the relatives in America. And it was my father and Uncle Tom, that erected it 1917. So they must have done it well because it's still standing anyway. All things. So when they were building the church, they had their tools and all that, of course, stonemasons and everything else. And there was a robber from the Kerry, just beyond the bounds, 20 bounds. There was a place called the Robber's Den. Huh? Is it called the Coolea? Yeah. Maybe the, yeah.
I know what it is.
You know, yeah. But I was just hanging out here, some kind of a place, some kind of a cave, or force the Gobnait, the force the Coolea. So he used to go by night robbing. And he had a black horse, and he'd wear black clothes, and he had black hair, and a black cloak, of course. So he came here, and he's supposed to have gathered up all the tools, and whatever valuables were around, to take with him, in the bag. Bag was black, of course. Hopped on his horse, and took off, and the horse started running, and when dawn broke, he was still running around the church. So he was belted on the horse. So he was captured, and horse taken off from the court and sent home right on foot. So they sculptured an image of him, they were on top. They call it the Gobnait, the black robber. So it was up there. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah. On the covers, yeah. So on the outside there, of that window, there's an image at the edge of the window. It's the tree in the gate. So we've got the tree in the gate. There's a symbol of fertility. Yeah. That's right. That's right. So we can stop and have a look at that in a minute. And then, so now the fans know. Just beyond that, then there are your stone flags. There's a tomb, a very old tomb. And for the landlord's time, the custodians of the church and the lands around were all held his. And there were Muslim priests, and some of them are buried there. So the older O'Herlihy, his wife died, and he had 2 or 3 sons, priests. So he decided he would become a priest himself. So his son served his first match with it. And the bishop down in, there was a bishop down in Wexford, I know see one of the minutes that he was some distant variation also. Well, that both things we have to say, but that's that thing that in what it says. So shot into land, oh yeah.
And my 15.
Yeah.
And was it Gobnait was worship the first time the horse to keep
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe in. I don't believe in courses at all.
Some story, you know. So, I sing a couple of the verses of the song. The one thing is hard, it's a bit long. So, that's how it goes. Bökrugen varden nanari, nur gushamar galer. Stakrin var lekele, martor de oktun rebre. Peter og grønne tripsian, så du jan down et bar. Kan bulle dering, kashauna tripsian. Es fada feine danamer, ke for vi Allah. Pavjagan kine vi agring, Ashkegaran yakan, maar de koninklijke claim naar mes, het is de nood me bron, is daar al machine kan loud, kashauna gypsyon. Kæreflagg fra han håne, gløys herrem koing. For hepalin skal tevering, skrile pere koing. Armin i reven nagle, skal kalma i et glå. Ikke ride darga fråga, Akkarina vart kada hale, tar degen på nås kun. Tar timpolin skakkardering, det stakkering bro. Ni feder dollar regenish, had all of oss are går. Skan trugan taschela verschenk. Kashauna gypsyon. Trelak fri kurtar miad, agus berte skrilak ser. Huiger de av derak, the lagle fangen le. An kapten Shemus parod, Gwynaf eseglo, is the forsche boss. Karkar vadon dripsiyon. Där så ignak jorak shinnish, kanar läkta tas train. Gabore dear winterbock, a tigals a quiz gave. Is ignak clown dripsinish. The gull is all gone. Ik vraag het gull, de monarchie, kashauna gypsyon. He died in 1971, at the age of 40 years of age. His wife Ruth, and His mother came from Kilmurry. She was Creedon, the Creedon. And her father was, his father was from Clare. He was a guard in Cork. So John O'Reilly came to Coolea, I think about around 1961 or 2. He was lecturing in UCC, lecturing music in UCC. He was working for RT before that, or television, radio Ireland, I suppose. Music programs and music director and all that. So he left a big legacy of music after him, indeed. Most of his family are still around. You met Padre today already?
Yeah.
So, Deirdre, you take over from here now for people.
All right, sorry. Okay,
That's all I have to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Storytelling and music, and around the forge every evening they'd be inside telling stories. But Donald Mlan was one of these big characters that everybody would be listening to him, and he'd be all gay cheese, and he'd be making
small character.
well, I suppose. But he could turn sentencing. He'd always make the story bigger and more exciting than it was. But he used to go every year to the Rockfest. That'd be a big Irish language festival in Dublin. And it's been 10 days, all expenses paid. It was like a real banquet in the Gresham. And breakfast, lunch and dinner, the whole shebang paid for if you wrote any few poems at all. So he'd go and he'd meet in the people from the other birds like Donegal and Green. They had no television and no radio, so it was the only way they'd meet these people. And so I suppose his most famous poem that he wrote was the Pucker Bullet. But he would have other ones wrote like the Kilmurry, which have since been sung by winners of the Kearney Reid and that the Rockfest, like Nelly Crony and Owen Moiky and Rural Lucas. But so anyway, so there was always Tomas here was often in the house. I didn't personally know my grandfather, but he had all the stories of, if you like. So you can ask him in the pub later. But yeah, so he died there in 1965, but he had a long and a happy life anyway, so it was good. Yeah. He was a great fan for dancing as well. But yeah, so Mickey, did you want to sing a verse of the Pucker Bullet? Yeah, okay. You start so because I'd be too high. Do you want to chant it?
Terbaguatum chair can ruddy warga, Ekim yois medal mehel, Casfiram Gummer Kyoy, Akpokan Kronis er Wille, Alleluia, 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 Tanpaker Wille, Alleluia, 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 Tanpaker Wille. The Rahimar Trasna Tree Relogok, the Gluashan Kore Kerfuad Namunyen, Paskestavur Shes Notur Togan, Western in honor of the Pinno, Alleluia, 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 Iraq Kare Gared Scotter, Nagarilla Forsi can make the pen, and Sunda Kashin Limbo, Lefana Morna Kalfala Brick, Alleluia, 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 Bucker Willa, Alleluia, 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 Dan Bucker Willa. En angni kushle haik tran honam, bin sagar froshte maknar gnev, Shedward gurbe an dielbu kolesh, a galvan thrower fokkan wille, Alleluia, 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 tan fokkar wille, Alleluia, 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 tan fokkar wille. En angni kushle haik tran honam, bin sagar frosh.
Macnargwyn, no. We guard the moor, Ballin Roastig, it's Ballig Forsy, Conching, and Clippen. The wool share up, the ice toner, the breach in the hill. Alleluia. Tapoker Willie.
Preparatory school up in Mayo, which was only 12, because they go away from home, and she kind of fell in love there then with the poets, like the English poets like Shakespeare and all these ones that she'd be reading about. And she said she used to love sitting at the side of the lake reading poetry. You know, for the kind of a calm, away from the, you know, the humdrum of the school and all the noise. So I suppose one of her most famous poems would be the Gobnait Arsa that Paddy was telling you about over in Sheffield Labour School. So I'll sing that in a minute. But she would also have been like my grandfather. She would have taken part in the Oireachtas na Gaeilge, and she would have composed Beans and Aglu Verses, which are kind of conversational pieces against two people. The two people would be singing and answering each other. They'd usually be of a humorous nature, but sometimes they'd be of a more serious nature, and they could be talking about history or something. So she met my father in the early 60s, and they got married in 1964, and the boy was my sister Liam was here as well now to back me out. So she was also a great woman for parties and crowds around and singing, and Reid knows all about the faulty Calig that she helped have in our house at home. But yeah, she wrote a lot of hymns. One of them was for St. Trasanafa OIV. Agus the Coilig she me Dora Bobby to here. So she passed away there in February 2001. But more recently my father then carved that other stone in her memory, the one here sideways with the Fleurs de Lis. And there's a little programme on on mulchgale.ie if you wanted to look it up. And it just shows him carving the stone, and there's more about the history of my mother and going on and that. So inscribed in the bottom of that is Bubiogan Hoshgame von Barahas and Ross. So that means that in this little patch of ground that it's the next little half a step, quarter of a step here to heaven. You know, it's like a little tiny little bit, you know, we're so close to that next. So I just sing you a couple of verses of the hymn, and I'll let you read them. And thanks very much for the honour of inviting me, and I enjoyed listening to Mickey as well. So Goramila Mahabuk Kilmurry.